Welcome back to Just the Tip. Thank you so much for joining us, whoever you are, wherever you are. I really appreciate those who have told me that you're listening.
You guys are what keeps Mike going.
Yeah, literally, the fact that people I know have said, I am listening, makes me actually want to do this. So if you don't want me to do this anymore, you can just be like, I'm not listening anymore, Mike.
No, don't do that. One of your friends is going to troll us.
Yeah.
So we're back after a couple weeks off. I'm back traveling for work, and I just was in Atlanta. And while I was down there, whenever I'm traveling in these hotel rooms, I get to watch TV. I don't really watch a lot of like regular TV or regular cable. We kind of watch just the apps and shows that we're streaming. So I discovered this show on TLC. First, I tried to watch Dr. Pimple Popper, and I like unclogging like blackheads or cleaning pores or like occasionally popping a zit or like an ingrown hair popping it out. Like that's satisfying for me. But something that I noticed when trying to watch Dr. Pimple Popper, I'm nowhere near into it. Like I saw her popping like cysts and shit, and it was like cottage cheese free flowing like from a faucet out of this man's like arm.
I didn't mind so much.
Listen, I was in the hotel room and I gagged for 2 minutes. I almost threw up. And then I was like queasy and I'm like, holy shit, this show is disgusting. People like this. And so I came home, I showed the show to Mike, and I tried to film a reaction video, but he was so cool, calm, and collected. Didn't faze you at all.
I kind of had a smile on my face.
Yeah, your jaw dropped for a little bit, but other than that, you were just staring. And I guess it's because you're in the medical profession anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually, like, some of the stuff that people had, I've seen worse in person, so it kind of wasn't that bad.
Oh, but guess what? I made him watch the show that's called My Feet Are Killing Me.
There were some nasty feet on there, which there was a foot on there that I don't think I'd seen quite as bad in person.
The woman who was walking on her toes.
No, I've seen wounds way worse than that. Oh. It was the guy whose just foot was basically covered in fungus. I've seen feet that were very close to that. I may have not seen a foot.
You sound like a podiatrist. You sound kind of sexy. Like you could be a podiatrist and you hate feet.
I'm not. I don't need to be a podiatrist.
You think the one doctor, the guy, you think he's into feet? There, you were watching his exam. You're like, he doesn't have a mask on.
He wasn't. I mean, there's foot flakes flying all over the place. He's not wearing gloves, a mask. And then when they said, why are you a podiatrist? He's like, because feet are great. And he's got this just creepy ass smile.
He kind of gives me Dexter vibes.
He's this young, kind of beautiful man. And I just think that like he's got everything in the world going for him.
Okay, so at this point, Mike sounds like the biggest hater. He's this young, beautiful man, podiatrist who has everything going for him, and I don't fucking like him.
No, I like him. I think he should just be honest and say, like, yeah, I'm into feet.
He literally said, yeah, I love feet. And you're just being a hater.
I think on a level, he's into them more than he's admitting to himself. I think he's into them sexually.
This is what a hater sounds like because Mike does not know this doctor. And he watched maybe 30 cumulative minutes of the show. And you just did what the internet does to everyone. And you like diagnosed him.
Yeah, we are the internet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, technically it's the internet. Anyway, so I had him watch that show. And after we watched that show, what did you say to me?
I saw the one guy's foot, and I was like, okay, I'll go get a pedicure.
So Mike went for his first pedicure today. I put it on Instagram, baby's first pedicure.
The hot water bath, fantastic.
Well, you had to start with the water wasn't the way you really wanted it, and she asked you, and you had to not because sometimes you want to be polite and you won't say it.
It was like lukewarm, and I didn't know if it was supposed to be hot. I'd never been there before. I've never done that thing.
Didn't you hear me when I walked up and the first thing I said to her was, "I need the water really hot."
Yeah, yes, really hot water. So I got the water hot. It was nice. The massage chairs, I don't like that feeling of like these balls digging into your back. Like,
oh my God, same.
I'm
joking.
By the end of it, I was kind of okay with the massage chair, but it's still a little abrasive. And then the cuticle cleaning. My cuticles have never been touched in my life.
But let me just say, Mike's feet aren't trash. Like, he has nice feet.
Yeah.
Your feet aren't gross.
I don't have but they just get that scraping of the cuticles. I didn't enjoy that.
Trimming of the cuticles, not scraping.
Okay.
Jeez.
I honestly, and then she took this like cheese grater to my foot, and I didn't like that part. felt like an actual cheese grater going across my foot. But other than and that was just a total of maybe 45 to 60 seconds of discomfort. Everything else was fine about it. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna
And you
try
didn't even
to go
have
back.
to pay for it.
I didn't have to pay for it. You sponsored me. It was great.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I'm
gonna collect later.
Just for like the general health of my feet, I'm gonna commit to at least twice a year. At least twice a year.
Yeah, I think that's good to get your feet done twice
Yeah.
a year. So we did that today. And then last night we had like a date night. Just because I've been gone, we wanted to spend a lot of time together. So last night, Mike made some of this amazing fish that he also had caught last year. And guess what? He had his first animal product after celebrating his 3-month vegan anniversary. So, Mike, what did you think about having fish again, even though it's like the freshest fish possible and you caught it yourself? What was it like having fish? You haven't had any animal products in 3 months.
I haven't had any animal products in my body for 3 months, and I figured, okay, if I do a meal once a quarter, that's probably okay, like for my vegan status. But I don't live a vegan lifestyle. I have leather shoes. So I figured, you know what? It's been 3 months. Let me put something in my body and see how I feel. Granted, this is wild caught salmon out in the deep ocean. Like it doesn't get any better than that. So there's no there's nothing that like in mass. Really, what I protest with not eating animals is our current kind of mass produced system of animal agriculture. So this doesn't really fit into that, but it's wild caught salmon. Like? I could actually, after eating it, I'm thinking, let me make everything else with that meal that I like, and then I can try to find a way to create a salmon patty without salmon.
Know what we could do? We could just take the Trader Joe's like burger, like patty, quote unquote, and we could like actually thaw them and re-roll them and re-season them ourselves and add some of the stuff that you put into the salmon cakes.
Possibly, yeah, because really the thing about that meal that's good is kind of everything else about it, and then like the lemon on top of the texture. The texture of the salmon cake is really great.
Yeah, the flavor was amazing.
The flavor is amazing, but you're not like immersed in salmon flavor. So it's just like all the things with going vegan is find the essence of what you like and then recreate it, or just kind of get up to the edge of that essence.
But I also just really liked the food.
Yeah, it was good. But I feel comfortable with doing it.
And you're back to being plant-based, just like that.
And then the rest of that night, no animals, and the rest of the next probably 3 months, no animals.
Yeah. So this week is what?
February. It's Valentine's Day week.
Yes, it's Valentine's Day week. And I know that like a lot of couples, I would say probably a fair amount of people put a lot of pressure around this holiday. And I know I'm a little smug when it comes to it, but I always have felt as though it's made up. So couples get into like they have real fucking issues. And I think it's like a running joke that you can see like the unhappy, stressed couples who feel forced to go out in public together on Valentine's Day. And it's just hella tense in the restaurants.
Yeah, don't go out for Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
like it's going to be busy and annoying.
Yeah.
Don't go out. Valentine's Day is made up. It's like you said, you felt like it's made up. It is made up. It's just to get you to buy shit. Don't partake in Valentine's Day. Do something with your loved one that like signifies your love, and try to not spend money to celebrate it. That's what I'm saying. I'm just not going to say the same thing.
Coach Mike, your financial coach.
You're like equally against Valentine's Day, but you're like, well, you could still spend money, like if you want.
Well, you can do. Is that what my voice sounds like to you? We'll talk about that later. No, I don't think that you have to spend money, but I think that you can find a way. I believe in honoring people throughout the year. I don't believe in waiting for one day and putting pressure on this day, because you are what you consistently do. So what are you doing the rest of the fucking year? If someone is trash, they're trash. It doesn't matter if they took you to a nice dinner.
I think it's important to have a conversation with whoever you think whoever is going to be your Valentine this year. Have a conversation about your expectations around the day, because some people think that they should be given gifts on Valentine's Day, and other people may not do that. So talk to your partner or whoever your Valentine is and figure out what you're going to do so that there's no like disappointment or expectations out of nowhere.
I think it's also easy for us because our first date was a couple days after Valentine's Day. So, like, really, we have something else that we celebrate around this time.
Yeah.
Which was really nice.
But screw Valentine's Day.
So, screw Valentine's Day, but also next week we are celebrating our 4-year anniversary
Of our first date.
Isn't that nuts? 4 years. It's like high school or like college. I mean, for some people, not me. I took longer.
I did too. Like,
but yeah, what do you think? So 4 years later.
4 years, it's gone by so fast.
Yeah.
And
This is the easiest time I've ever done.
this is the easiest 4-year stint I've ever done. Here's to another 50. Here's to a life sentence.
Babe. Okay, so the biggest news this week, and something that I am so insanely proud of, is that Mike actually booked an appointment with a therapist. Mm-hmm. Insert dope ass music of like bells and people screaming. You sound like Jason. So get this. It wasn't just that he did this shit on his own. We got into an actual big argument about it.
Aisha had been asking me for
years.
Yes.
Plural.
And I saw a therapist a couple times. She moved away, and then it's been a year since I had gone to another, and I kept just kind of putting it off. And I had some excuses, and finally Aisha sat me down, and it was an argument, and she was like, "You know what, Mike? You have no problem executing on things. I see you think of something you want to do, and then you just go do it. You have no problem with doing that. So you haven't done this because you don't value it." And
you tried to like talk around it and make up an excuse.
Yeah, and I realized that I just have had all kinds of excuses for the last year, and I can execute, and I need to just actually
And I needed you to say that to me. Like, when you started trying to come up with all these excuses and reasons for why you haven't done it, I was like, it felt like, please don't insult my intelligence. Just admit that it's not, that you haven't done it because you haven't wanted to, because everything you want to do, you immediately do.
Yeah.
And then you admitted it, and you finally said it, and I said thank you, and it made me feel better, because sometimes you feel crazy because you know what it is and the other person won't acknowledge it.
And I'm not resistant to therapy. I was just resistant to taking an hour out of my day to go give someone $150 to listen to me talk. And granted, that is like the worst description of therapy anyone's ever given, but that's how I feel about it now, because I haven't gone through the program.
Well, I know there's steps, and I know there's
like
12 steps.
There's 12 steps.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was just very like, ugh. Like, so I just kept on putting it off.
But I can't wait for you to go, because we're going to have documented what you felt like before.
Yep.
And then we're going to hear what it's like after. And then listeners are going to be able to go on the journey of your growth. I can't wait to title that appointment, or that podcast, Baby's First Therapy Appointment.
And I put a feeler out. So I tried to go in network. That's what my whole goal was this whole time, was to see a provider in network, give them a $20 copay, and like that could be, I was thinking that would be sustainable for me.
But listen, let's check up on his shit. We're going to fact check this. You also didn't even do that for over a year.
No, I did that recently.
Okay, so you all just heard Mike, how eloquently he will tell you his reasoning.
Yeah.
And then you have to be like, but you also didn't do that.
So I tried to do that in the last few months, and I mean, it was nearly impossible, actually nearly impossible, to find a mental health provider in my network that could see me. It was insane. So I feel it for people who don't have $150 for an hour of therapy. Like, yeah, it's going to be hard for you to get help. There are actually, my friend sent me a good resource for like less expensive. But anyways, it's a privilege, and I'm going to honor the privilege, the position that I'm in, and pay that money out of pocket and not try to do it in a network, because that just was proving almost impossible.
Mike has his full-on crazy eyes right now. I legit see white around the top and the bottom of your eye. You're so wired talking about this. I can't tell if you're like zoned out reading lines, or if it's like you're this excited. Which is it?
I don't know. So I put a feeler out on Facebook.
I suggested this to you years ago.
Yeah.
I said, when you were telling me like, oh, you need to do this and go through your insurance, I was like, no, Mike, the best thing you should do is ask your circle. Like, ask your friends. And you kept being like, well, my friends aren't in therapy. And I'm like, you act like your friends don't have like, I may not do this thing, but I know 10 people who do, or people who have referred people. So anyway, you finally did it.
Yeah, and turns out a lot of close friends have been to therapy and had recommendations. So it was cool to get.
And people were very supportive of you
Yeah.
being vulnerable enough to share it. So you don't really, for people who know Mike, or for people who don't know Mike, he's not someone who's into like social media or like sharing, I guess, a lot about your life. Like, that's just not who you are. If you go to your Instagram, there's more pictures I've tagged you in than what you've posted. I wouldn't say you're like a private person, but you're just not, you're very open with the people in your real life.
I'm not an automatic sharer.
Yeah.
So I got some good suggestions from close friends, and then I got some good suggestions from people who were just Facebook friends. Maybe we've known each other for a short period of our lives, and then now we're just Facebook friends. So it was nice to get kind of all kinds of people giving me good
Were you
recommendations.
surprised by the fact that you got so much feedback?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised at how quickly and how many recommendations I got. So I was actually able to send out a lot of emails, and that day someone through a recommendation of a recommendation responded, and now Aisha looks at me a little better.
I'm just proud of you. I'm proud of you. And I think it's amazing that, like, one, we were able to have what can be a very sensitive conversation. And mind you, we've had this be a reoccurring theme for years. Like, I've been asking him to go for years. So it's one of those things that has been like a lingering, this is something that's a foundational value of mine, and you're kind of not doing it, but you're such a great partner that it's not like a deal breaker. And I wasn't actively always mad, but something would happen. Like, if we had a hiccup in our communication, I would instantly get frustrated, and it would go back to this, because we're going to continue to hit the same roadblocks if we're both limited in the amount of resources we have, or especially if only one of us is actively taking time to be in an environment with the intention of bettering their communication and stuff.
Yeah, I'm just really glad that the next time we're in an argument, you can't use that against me and say you're not going to therapy, therefore you're wrong.
Well, and it was never that. I would never say it like that. Like, it was never that black or white.
This is how it felt.
Yeah, and feelings aren't facts. But it did feel that way for you, but that doesn't mean that I said it that way. So remember that. You'll learn that in therapy.
Yeah. I need to record our arguments.
We should. We
should.
Oh, the premiere of High Maintenance. Amazing show. Watch High Maintenance on HBO. It's a new season. I think I'm going to have the writer and one of the lead actors, Ben Sinclair, do a cameo for Mike.
Don't waste your money.
I want to I think it's like $150.
Don't waste your money.
I guess it's a therapy
It's going to be him walking to the laundromat.
It's going to be hilarious.
Just saying stupid stuff like waste of money. Please don't do it.
Has anyone paid for cameo like videos yet? I kind of want one.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I almost bought a Juicy J video. I love 3 6 Mafia.
Shut the fuck up.
That was good. Okay, stop. Just stop. We can't do anymore. It's Black History Month. I can't let you do all that.
I can't do a Juicy J quote.
Don't do it.
No, I'm done. Obviously done doing it. I was just asking that I can't do that in the future.
No, just not the rest of this month.
Okay. Roger.
Something else that Mike and I were talking about that I think other people can relate to is imposter syndrome. So we're both at newish jobs, and we're both doing things a little different than our previous roles. And a couple weeks ago, we were having this good conversation, and it turned out that we both were feeling differing levels of imposter syndrome.
Yep.
And we just it's kind of cool to think about the fact that we are all going through something that someone else is also going through at that exact moment. We may just not know who that person is. A lot of people don't talk about things, but it's really interesting to live with someone and to be kind of having the same feelings. And then we only found out because we talked about it.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with the same thing.
And it's a good reminder that basically everyone has imposter syndrome at all times at work.
Yeah. Well, and I've started to think, like, as I listen to biographies or interviews or whatever with people who are like in their 50s and 60s, they're very candidly, boomers, they're very candidly saying, like, we didn't know what we were doing. We don't know this. I was talking to my aunt, and she was telling me about how when she was helping raise me, how like she was just winging some stuff, and not like with the raising me, but like, professionally, like she didn't know, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm just winging it. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, growing up, she was just always had it together. And like, it's, I think a lot of people are just fucking winging it. And it's, how open are you to learning new things? And I guess the moment you learn, you make the switch that you need and you do it again. And it's like some people get it quickly and some people don't. But it's kind of exciting to be, I'm not looking at it as imposter syndrome anymore. I'm looking at it as though I have this opportunity to be flexible.
Oh, and what is imposter syndrome? Because some people might be listening and like not even know what we're talking about. So how I think of imposter syndrome is if you are somewhere and you feel like you don't belong, or you feel like someone's going to find out that you're not smart enough or you don't know how to do the job. Someone's going to find out, and then you're not going to be there anymore.
Yeah.
Or you're going to do a really bad job because you weren't trained properly. I call all of that imposter syndrome. And everyone, I think at this point, everyone has it. And I don't know what the cure is, but I think what helps is just to know that everyone else is also thinking the same thing.
I think that, I don't know if I would call this a cure, but I think one way to navigate it is to really study your shit. I think that the more knowledge you have, the more confident you feel. So even if you don't know something, you feel confident in what you do and don't know. And I think sometimes with imposter syndrome, it can prey upon perceived deficiencies in whatever you're doing, and like, oh shit, someone's gonna find out that I'm not this. And whether that is real or not, it's perceived in your mind. So I just have had to remind myself that like, I am actually doing a good job. I am being smart. I've only been here X amount of months. I'm getting it. I've been able to contribute and add something of value to a company. I'm at a startup now. Well, let me say, they don't like being called a startup. Growth phase company. I mean, I don't know, semantics. It's just like, okay, it's a fucking company that's not 8,000 people, but it's been very interesting to learn. I'm learning a lot about myself. The term that's on my heart right now would be, don't take yourself too seriously. I think after doing all this travel and feeling kind of like nutty and then having a crazy flight delay, you like have time to think and have, time to yourself. And I just feel like people take themselves too seriously.
People take themselves way too seriously.
Especially at work.
Yeah.
And I mean, you actually were in an environment where you're saving lives, but I'm like, nothing that we're doing is going to move the needle.
I was actually like, this is off topic, but this reminds me, yesterday I was telling my friend how much I enjoyed the classic introvertedness of the kind of industry that I'm in now. I'm in finance now, and like I'm finding out that your typical accounting and finance person is very introverted. And I kind of love it because there's no pressure to socialize. There is negative pressure to socialize. Like, you can walk through the office all day long and people may not even, when you pass them, they may not even look up from the floor.
This is amazing. Spoken like a true Seattle native.
I love it.
You are finding it exhilarating that you're in an industry where people won't talk to you.
I love it. Like, there are some people who are so introverted, and it's amazing because I can feel so comfortable and just walk into the office and know that, if I have to say hi, like if I'm going to say hi to someone, it's going to be to someone that wants to say hi. But the people who don't want to say hi, there's no expectation that they have any kind of contact with anyone else. It's
Can I
awesome.
just say that Mike is also the same person who, if he hears our neighbors opening up their door at the same time we're opening our doors, he'll like wait until he hears that they were gone so he doesn't have to like maybe say hello.
Yeah.
You actually did it one time and I was the one coming through the door. And I saw him like hide a little bit. And I was like, are you fucking serious? But he thought I was just a random neighbor, and it's just like, what is that?
What's weird is like the people who actually know me wouldn't label me a strong introvert, but
no.
I have some strong introvert tendencies to strangers.
See, and I'm not an introvert. I'm an extrovert. I joke that I'm a social loner because, like, I do know how to be by myself and enjoy my own company. I also think that's because I'm one of those people where I hear my voice in my head. So, like, my voice in my head talks 4 times more than I talk, and I talk a shit ton.
Okay, this is another thing I'm just not even convinced of. Are there actually people out there who don't hear themselves talking in their head?
Yeah. Yeah, my old college roommate is one.
Okay, if anyone listening doesn't hear their voice in their head, can you please tell me? Because this is like really weird to me.
But like, you hear your voice?
I hear my voice, yeah.
Does your voice talk faster than you talk in real life?
No.
Does your inner voice talk more?
Inner voice.
Okay, don't do that.
It's an Adam Sandler thing.
Okay, like, and
I'm
he's
doing
hella.
a character. I know.
Okay,
No.
everything you're saying is worse because all of his old characters are like really like.
Yeah.
There's people with special needs that are like not a punchline.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it is that. It's like legit one of his characters' inner voices.
Okay, so that's what your inner voice sounds like?
Sometimes.
Really?
Well, just as I'll do an accent, my inner voice will do an accent. Or
so
a character.
I was listening to NPR last week, and there was this chick on there who was being interviewed kind of about this same topic, and she said her inner voice had the voice of Cher.
That's weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, yours sounds like a not Happy Gilmore, like Adam Sandler character.
What if, like, you told your Google Home to do the voice of Issa Rae? What if you just adopted Issa Rae's voice into your head? Like, that lady adopted Cher's voice.
Issa Rae is so much cooler than me. Like, I don't even feel comfortable having that cool of an inner voice.
Well, Cher's probably cooler than whoever this person was.
Yeah, she was. So yeah, I'm into that. I think that's like, I think it's really cool. So I don't know. What else is going on with you?
We have to find a place to live. We have to find a new wedding venue, and
holy shit.
we have to.
When I was out of town, Mike casually tells me, so the Airbnb that we're renting for our wedding, he's like, yeah, they have to cancel because they're selling their house. And I think because I was so tired and delirious, I took the news so well, and I'm just like, okay. We literally have no place to get married.
Yeah, and we're locked into a location and a time because we already have our family planning around it.
Yeah, I mean, worst case, we can just take family to like the courthouse and go to a nice dinner.
Worst case. But yeah, so
we don't know where we're getting married.
Okay, the crazy thing about this is right now
and the guy won't cancel.
Yeah, so we still have a reservation through Airbnb. But he called me and said he's going to sell the house, and he wanted me to cancel. And I said, well, I'll let you cancel.
I have friends who work at Airbnb. Leah and Brandon and Des. I mean, Des isn't like my friend. He's like someone who I know of, like, but we haven't hung out enough to be friends. But Des, he's hella cool. The three of you guys work at Airbnb. Is that legal for them to have told us that they can't do it? They're selling their house, but for them to say that they won't be the ones to cancel it because it'll like ding their rating.
So at first he just said, "Can you cancel it?" And I said no on the phone. I said, no.
He called you.
He called me, and then he sent me a message through the app later and saying, "Hey, if I cancel, it'll go against me. Will you cancel on your end, and I'll send you $100 for your inconvenience?" I messaged him back in the app saying, no, I'd rather keep this all on the app. I'll let you cancel since you can't keep the reservation. That was like 4 days ago. I haven't heard anything since.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to cancel this trip. And he hasn't yet either. But apparently they're not going to fulfill it. So I'm just waiting to see what happens. But meanwhile, we have to plan that we're absolutely not. I guess
like what is the downside of us? Like, why would we not want to be the ones to cancel? I feel like, is it going to like hurt your rating at all? Like, what's the point of that?
I don't know.
Like, are we playing ourselves by not canceling?
Yeah, like, am I being a stick in the mud and fucking myself over? Maybe I am, but
does it automatically give our money back? We need to like read all the policies.
Yeah. Something tells me the simplest answer to this is he's the one that can't keep the reservation, so he should cancel. He's asking me to cancel. But I want the reservation, so why would I cancel the reservation that I want?
I mean, you're not often petty, and this is definitely not petty, but like, no, you are like, he needs to fucking cancel. Okay, we'll ask people who like either work at Airbnb or like have done it. I'll ask Natalie because she used to rent out her place.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll be easy. So yeah, we don't know where we're getting married. We don't have a refund yet from this guy. We've already paid half.
We move in a month and a half. We don't have a place yet.
Yeah, we don't know where we're going to live.
But nothing is really available yet for April. Everything is still March.
Not much is available.
You have to
for
like
April.
actually wait a little longer to even see
What do
places.
we know? We know that we're getting married, that we love each other.
We have not picked our bachelor party flight or hotel stay yet.
I mean, the flight is not a big deal. We'll always get a flight. But yeah, we're doing a joint bachelorette party.
And we're 4 months away from it?
I mean...
3 months?
No. We're like 4.
March, April, May, June. Okay, we're about 4.
No, we're not about 4. We are 4.
Okay.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I mean, sure.
Mike wants to start a church.
Yeah, I would love to start a church. You know, just like about connectivity of all of our lives and love and like no dogma.
What's dogma?
It's a movie.
Okay, that means you don't know what the fuck it is. Do you know what the word? Do you know what it means?
I think dogma is like it's like the belief system of right and or kind of fuck. I'm just gonna say no.
You don't know what it is.
No.
Okay, that's okay. How does that feel how does it feel to admit that you don't know what it is?
Bad, because I feel like I have the image in my mind of what dogma is.
Well, you just use it in a sentence.
I think it's like dogma is like what says kind of what is good or bad or how you should act or believe inside of a religion.
We're gonna look this up, but I think this is really cool because you are a bullshitter sometimes. And I think it's cool that you're like, yeah, I don't know what it means. And I just said a sentence using it.
Yeah. Well, you know, what I've learned is if you don't know something, you better say like, okay,
you better bullshit until they think you know.
I think it's okay to like bullshit up front, you know, on certain things. But if you get your bluff called, like abandon right away because you don't want to dig yourself deeper.
You sound like someone who doesn't play poker.
No.
Yeah. Abandon right away. Like,
yeah, no, like if you don't know something, say it fast.
Scammers don't scam. Like that's not how you scam someone.
Well,
right, we're not scammers, but like I'm just saying, like you're telling someone who's gonna actually
Joanne the scammer? Isn't that a thing?
That's a person.
Okay.
Jeez. Okay, let's go.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.